Oh, I am recording. Yes, please introduce yourself.
Greetings. I am Ibrahim Sai, 26 years old, from Dakar, Senegal. Currently a student in Brooklyn Heights at St. Francis College. I am responding spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and physically to Yep, I think this is the one. Change, anciency, maturing, not known, ill suiting to uncomfortable, then gratifying. That's powerful words. Um, so first I will respond spiritually. Um, as a man who have faith, yeah, but doesn't believe in per se a specific religion, I will respond to this according to my own belief system. So to me, it speaks about. So first, let's analyze it. Change, anciency, maturing, not new. The first word is change, and to me, spiritually, I would say that that's what life is all about. And we are building off a foundation, and anciency, maturing, not known. We walk into life as detectives, like trying to figure something bigger than us that transcend us from uh, our daily reality. That's how I see it. And ill-suiting to uncomfortable, then gratifying. Personally, that's the part that actually made me pick the coat because I feel like change is always painful and it's always about discomfort. But that's what life is all about. It's like life shows it to us in all aspects, and I want to even connect it to because I feel like this quote, like I picked it because I feel like it would be easily to just make it relatable to all the words at the same time. Because physically, I would associate this quote with a practice that I do on a daily basis, which is like going to the gym, which really put me through like a lot of changes physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Because I feel like that when I decided to go back into the gym, it was at a time in my life where I started to be comfortable in where I am and wasn't realizing that I wasn't progressing anymore. I just let the days pass. And as I was going to the gym, it was a real hard decision to really leave this comfort that was installed by like this pandemic and this time that we're going through right now, and I had to really push myself, and it was really like a real discomfort to start doing the things that I was accustomed to do, but I wasn't so great at it. And physically, it really took a toll on me. Emotionally, also, because I knew that I was capable of doing those things, but because I let myself be comfortable without continuously putting pressure on myself to get better, I wasn't progressing anymore. But like after 2 weeks of dedicating myself, I just started noticing like some change. Like psychologically, I was more free. Like I was able to have clear thoughts. Like my body was at ease. Like the stress was gone after I put myself through like these 2 hours of hard work. And it reminds me of that other quote, which I will put next to it, which is pressure creates diamonds. And to me, that's what it associates perfectly with this quote right here, because as you go into the gym and you put stress on your body, even scientifically, this is the way to grow muscles. Like, and you can translate that to other areas of life. Like you putting yourself through a hardship, but for your own benefit, with a purpose and a goal, will help you grow in the direction that you aim to. And to me, I think I responded like, yeah, spiritually, it really got me to a point where like I had faith, first of all, in my own ability to do it. I was able to realize that no matter what I was going through, no matter how hard like I let myself down, I'm always able to pick myself back up if I decide to. And
May I ask, because sometimes it's hard to give a oral physical description to something that's spirit, because it's ether, right? Spirit is ether, it's air, it's just around us. And I'm listening to the pressures of how you did not like your physical presence, so you pushed yourself to make changes. Can you give a visual to what that spiritual energy looks like? What did it embody, if you can, that pushed your physical change?
all right, so in my case, I see the spiritual world. I will define it as first of all, the intangible. And the intangible to me, as I observe it into my life on a day-to-day basis, are my thoughts. Like my thoughts are the primary thing that I believe and that I can assess and that I believe are real on a day-to-day basis. So this is where my spirituality comes from. It's because even when I study the different books, especially Christianity, me being born in a Muslim culture, in a Muslim family, I came here and had the chance to study at a Christian school. So I was able to get a grasp of the books, the readings, and the difference with Christianity that I always observed and kind of like is the interconnectedness between the spirit and man. Like the fact that he's in you. It's not an abstract person or thought that is removed from you, but you are part of that energy. So to me, that's what made it, like, it was something that I always grasped around. Like I really gravitated towards that idea. And just studying other religions and faith, ancient faith, I always saw that connected, that connection between all the faith. And to me, that's how I formed my idea of the spiritual world, like the intangible, that my thoughts are really what controls my reality. And me being able to isolate myself from the physical world and hearing my own thoughts, sit with them and ask myself, what do you want, like, out of life? what is it that moves you? What is it that drives you? And me having that honest conversation with myself without any doubt that I was the one who would decide for me. Like, I am responsible for my own life. And the moment I was aware of my own voice was the moment I started to work with myself on a day-to-day. Because it's not, once you're aware of that voice, it's not an immediate process where like, okay, I hear myself, boom, I got everything covered. There's no now you're aware of yourself. I understand that it's me, and wherever that source is coming from, whatever that source is coming from, that allows me to form those thoughts, it comes from the source that's beyond this reality.
All right.
So at that point, it was like reality just works according to those thoughts. Because then when you study and you go to school or whatever, you start to understand that ideas, the intangible imagination, it works. It's what built everything around me. So from that understanding, I just started to decide to build my own reality from it. And using the tools like the anciency, the maturing, the not known. That's why I chose this quote, because I think it really relates to a spiritual journey, an emotional one, a mental one, and a physical.
Would it be safe for me to say that mentally and spiritually, that there's something that I picked up? The Spirit moved you to continue to take care of yourself.
Yes, I kind of understood that I am that spirit. That spirit is part of me. Like, it's not separated from me. Like, there's no separation between the source of my thoughts and my actions. So,
Okay, so you don't separate your mentality from your spirituality. Okay, that's what I was trying to
exactly.
understand.
I do not separate them.
That's what I was trying to understand.
They are really interconnected. They are able, that's the key source to changing your physical reality. So that's how
All right. Did you make an emotional relation?
An emotional relation. Of course. So like, I would say in terms of, I think I spoke about it a little bit in terms of comfort.
Yes.
In terms of comfort is really like habits that you start taking, and where you don't, like, when you start being comfortable in a situation, you start progressing. That's what I know. That's what I noticed. Like, when I started to just allowing myself to be without necessarily having a goal, like to reach. Like, I would just stay comfortable in like whatever life would throw at me. I wouldn't be responsible, and I really had to analyze that word responsible. Because to me, I heard one day somebody break down the word response and able, like, which is to me changed the whole like understanding of the word. Like, you know, as responsibility in society, we always like, you know, life throws at you anything, and you're supposed to react. That's how I kind of interpret like the whole breakdown of the word. Like, your ability to respond to what life throws at you is what makes the difference. And once you start, like, me being comfortable to relate it to my own story, like I said, I was the pandemic. It was like that's what life threw at me. And us being in this, me being a student and in a situation where I had to work from home, and I didn't have that routine of going to school, getting dressed, like, you know, having that whole preparation to my day, like, made me into boxed me into a situation where I was just at home, being comfortable, like, you know, just going on TV. I didn't have anybody to tell me like, oh, it's time to do your work. Or okay, it's 11 o'clock now. You got class from such and such. So I just started to be comfortable. Like,
Well, what I'm picking up from that one is that that is a purely physical response to the anciency. Um, your body is becoming ancient in some ways by
Absolutely,
not being able to get out and do things. That's what part of what has happened behind the pandemic.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. So like your body is aging, like you're not moving physically as much as you used to, and then like I said, you started being comfortable, and then from there, that's a physical response, and then emotionally, you're not stimulated as much as you used to. Because I feel like as human beings, it is in our innate nature to interact with our physical reality and just ask ourselves questions, like try to adapt the physical reality to our own sense of life is something that's intersect to us. Like, and from that point, I feel like, I mean, you can see just with the numbers, like suicide numbers, alcohol, overdose, like over the pandemic was ridiculous because people had an emotional reaction to their physical inactiveness. So that really took a toll on anybody, I guess, at different levels. But with me, it was what really helped me in the beginning of that pandemic was like my mind, like me understanding that interconnectedness that I was talking about between the mind and the body. It's like I'm able to travel anywhere with this. I'm able to really form any kind of thoughts with this, whether they are peaceful or detrimental to my own health. Like, so it is really entirely up to me to accommodate to this new situation. Like, it's not new. New human beings have been dealing with nature since the beginning of time. So this is a different situation, but my mind was the biggest tool for me. So I had to make it work with my physical reality. It was hard, just like with everybody, but I think I grew a lot from this pause, I would say, that the word kind of took. So that would be my emotional reaction, and yeah, I guess mentally, I came out of it my mind was sharp. Like, I took the time to really, I had so much time that I wanted to make the best out of that situation, because I was always thought that billionaires or millionaires are made in times of crisis. Like, times of crisis is really what influences, like, changes. Like, when you study history, every time there was a financial crisis or health crisis, whatever, it always was the motor of a new change, of a new direction. Like, it influenced the world to take a different trajectory. And me having all that time, I wanted to use it, like, very, very to the best of my abilities. Like,